Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
There will be no probe into Antigua and Barbuda's former energy minister who's been accused of bribery. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, June 25. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Antigua and Barbuda's embattled former energy minister Assot Michael will not be investigated by the Integrity Commission. And that's according to a communique from the Commission, which said there has been no complaint lodged against Michael, who has been accused of bribery. He was sacked in October last year when he was arrested on suspicion of involvement in bribery and fraud with United Kingdom business tycoon Peter Verdi. Michael was appointed to a new ministerial post earlier this year, but then resigned as the scandal came back to haunt him when the transcripts of Verdi's conversations were unveiled in a UK court. The Integrity Commission said that after discussions, it had determined there were grounds for an investigation under Section 12(1)(b) of the Integrity in Public Life Act 2004. It also advised that it would make a formal request of the government for the necessary resources to enable it to conduct the investigation. But so far, it has not received any complaint with respect to Michael as required under Section 22 of the Integrity in Public Life Act 2004 for them to investigate him. The Commission's legal counsel has advised that in the circumstances, it is unable to proceed with an investigation into the matter. The Commission, however, notes that it is continuing to take steps to strengthen the infrastructure within the body so that it may properly perform its functions, including the investigation of any complaint that is properly before it. Jamaica's opposition leader, Dr. Peter Phillips, is calling for the resignation of Energy Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley. His call comes amid allegations of mismanagement at the state-run oil refinery Petrojam. Phillips said Dr. Wheatley must take responsibility for the alleged breaches as they occurred under his leadership. He says it is clear that the minister has breached public trust and his position in office cannot be sustained. The opposition leader also said that Prime Minister Andrew Holness owes the country an explanation regarding the Petrojam saga. We get more in this TVJ News report.
Petrojam and the Permanent Secretary in the Energy Ministry are to present a report to Cabinet on Monday about the issues at the state-run oil refinery. Ahead of that Cabinet meeting, the opposition is stepping up the pressure, turning the spotlight on the Energy Minister, Dr. Andrew Wheatley.
Now it is clear that the Minister of Energy has breached the public trust. And his position in that office can be sustained.
And if that wasn't clear enough,
the minister must go.
According to Dr. Phillips, the resignation of the Energy Minister alone would not be enough. He says there are still many unanswered questions.
Someone has to answer for the issue of how did such a board become appointed, where apparently two of the members were not resident in Jamaica, two of the three Jamaican board members. The Prime Minister chaired the cabinet meeting that approved the contractor of the wall where there was this massive payment in excess of the estimates.
Dr. Phillips described the controversy at Petrojam as the latest scandal to rock the Jamaica Labour Party administration.
We had the FLA scandal. We had the police used car scandal. We had the 600 million bushing scandal. We had the phone bill scandal. We have had the travel scandal in the Ministry of Tourism. Petrojam is the mother of all scandals so far.
Several issues of concern have been raised in recent weeks in relation to operations at Petrojam. These include a $13 million retainer the company paid to a firm for entertainment and public relations services, the $12 million annual salary granted to the human resource manager, and the engagement of an overseas consultant for a project which could have been done by the oil refinery's parent company, the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica.
And that report was by Vashon Brown of TVJ in Jamaica. Staying in Jamaica, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says he will be taking a submission to Cabinet for persons who plead guilty to be eligible for expungement after a period of rehabilitation. He says there are dozens of people who cannot get their sentences expunged because of the type of crimes they committed. But as far as the Justice Minister is concerned, virtually all crimes are expungible unless the offender has been sentenced to life imprisonment. And over in Trinidad and Tobago, opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar is calling for the resignation of National Security Minister Edmund Dillon. In a statement issued over the weekend, Persad-Bissessar said Dillon has not presented the country with a clear and viable plan to fight criminal elements and protect citizens and visitors. And she says the current administration is clueless about how to solve the crime problem in the Twin Island Republic. Her statement follows the United National Congress's motion of no confidence in the National Security Minister in Parliament last Friday. In her statement, Persad-Bissessar noted that while people are being slaughtered on the streets, in their homes and even at their places of work, the National Security Minister has failed to provide any measure of comfort to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. In her contribution to the no confidence motion, the opposition leader said her administration had been far more effective in handling crime in the country, using the same resources available to the current Keith Rowley government.
With the Honourable Minister doing the electric slide, yes? And that's all good, that's all well and good, but what about, his performance in bringing the murder rate to slide down that murder rate? What about, when you look at things, it's shaky and it's electric, and what's electric? The only thing electric is a terrifying situation in this country when it comes to crime. But this motion, brought by my colleague, I congratulate him for his contributions, and I await to hear with bated breath what it is government would tell us that they have in mind to put a slide on the increase in murder rate.
National Security Minister Edmund Dillon, in his response, questioned the patriotism of those in the opposition who brought the motion against him.
The other side have done human service to the country of Trinidad and Tobago. Which one of you have been a member of the Defense Force, the Protective Services? Which one? Which one of your children have been a member of the Defense Force, the Public Service, or anything like that? Which one? Which one? Which one? Name it. Where is the sacrifice for this country? Where is it?
The British Virgin Islands Education Minister Myron Walwyn has been elected to lead the ruling National Democratic Party, the NDP. He was chosen by party delegates over the weekend as a replacement for Premier Dr. Orlando Smith, who said he would not be seeking re-election. Walwyn defeated Health Minister Ronnie Skeleton, who was also vying for the post in the internal election that was closed to the public. Walwyn's reported running mate, Marlon Penn, was also successful in his campaign to become party vice president after Deputy Premier Dr. Kendrick Pickering, who was the party's vice president, did not seek re-election. Staying in the British Virgin Islands, sections of that British overseas territory were rocked by a minor earthquake shortly after 7 on Monday morning. The Department of Disaster Management reported that the 3.4 magnitude quake had a recorded depth of 48 miles. The epicenter of the tremor was located 19.8 miles north-northwest of the BVI capital, Road Town, and there were no reports of damage or injury. Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, a national day of mourning in Guyana. Stay with us. That story and more after the break.
From sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
CC Winers will headline this year's staging of Goss Splash. The event being promoted by Action Entertainment will take place on Emancipation Day, August 1 in New Kingston, Jamaica. Recording and performing as both a solo artist and a duo with her brother Baby, CC has influenced a generation of gospel and secular vocalists. She has won a staggering 12 Grammy Awards, 22 Dove Awards, and 7 Stellar Awards.
Violence in schools, media hype or reality? That's the topic for discussion in the next UNICEF-sponsored Activate Talks right here on Carib Vision. Activate Talks is a global series by UNICEF designed to spark discussion on issues affecting children and youth. So join us at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, June 27th and find out about violence in schools. Media hype or reality? Monday was a national day of mourning in Guyana for fishermen who were killed in a pirate attack off the coast of Suriname between April 27th and May 3rd. The proclamation made by President David Granger called on all ministries as well as governmental and public bodies to fly the national flag at half-staff to demonstrate solidarity with the families of those killed. Survivors of the attacks spoke of haunting memories of being assaulted with machetes and forced to jump into the sea by the assailants who were suspected to be of Guyanese heritage. Speaking on the sidelines of the opening ceremony for a Caribbean Financial Action Task Force workshop for judges and prosecutors, President Granger described the attack as a grave one, and he said the country was deeply grieved by the tragedy, adding that his government was in touch with the Surinamese government and the Surinamese police authorities to fully investigate the matter. And still in Guyana, Minister of Finance Winston Jordan has filed a $200 million lawsuit against opposition parliamentarian Juan Egil for libel, false charges and malicious prosecution. The lawsuit stems from private criminal charges that Egil filed in the magistrate's court against the minister, accusing him of misconduct in public office in relation to government's funding of the Urban Park project. The case was discontinued by the Director of Public Prosecutions. In his suit, the finance minister claims that Egil's intent in filing the charges was to embarrass, humiliate him and cause him to suffer public hatred, since the charge was widely reported in the local newspaper, radio, electronic media, social media, and was accessible and circulated on the internet. Jordan said he suffered significant harm to his reputation and integrity as a direct result of the institution of the criminal proceedings by Egil. Jordan says the lawsuit was another demonstration of the opposition clutching at straws. Egil will appear in the High Court later this month on the lawsuit. Grenada is getting $30 million support from the World Bank to strengthen its climate and fiscal resilience policy and to assist in transition into a blue economy. The World Bank says that the program, supported under its development policy credit from the International Development Association, the IDA, builds on the success of the government's reform efforts and policy measures that strengthen fiscal discipline and helps the island build buffers to better cope with natural disasters or other economic shocks. This development policy credit, the first in a series of 2, is being complemented by technical and capacity support. The program supports key reforms, including a ban on single-use plastic bags, styrofoam containers and utensils that are severely harmful for marine health, and the establishment of a marine protected area that places under protection 15% of its coastal and marine ecosystems. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell said the finance support is essential to helping the country transition to a blue economy and progress towards building a truly resilient and prosperous country. He added that Grenada has 70 times more space at sea than on land, and that its marine and coastal resources have become the main engine of the economy. The Prime Minister said the island is at the frontier of adopting climate-smart development policies. According to a World Bank report, the Caribbean Sea generated almost 18% of Caribbean GDP in 2012, which came from marine tourism, oil and gas, maritime shipping and fishing activities of the islands and mainland Caribbean coastal countries. Caribbean countries interested in decriminalizing marijuana for medical purposes can now receive loans up to $50 million from a global private sector investment company called Invest Caribbean Now. The company, which has posted the information on its website, said loans will be to facilitate land deals and commercial real estate properties to qualified medical marijuana entrepreneurs in countries where the herb is legal. Invest Caribbean Now says the loans would come from its private funding network and will be determined on a case-by-case basis. Meanwhile, Jamaica's Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw says he will be moving to ensure that Jamaica is not left behind in the growing global medical cannabis industry. Shaw, in a recent address at an agricultural technology symposium, noted that while Jamaica has only decriminalized the use of up to 2 ounces of marijuana and issued a few licenses for production and processing, the product is now legal in Canada, and 31 states in the United States have been producing and using it for medicinal and recreational purposes. He said the country needs to move quickly to take advantage of opportunities in the growing of cannabis and manufacture of products. And he says he's working with the Ministry of Health and the Cannabis Licensing Authority to move faster and more aggressively to get up to the level of world competition. Shaw says agriculture is a key sector in enabling Jamaica to achieve sustained high levels of economic growth. He noted that the sector's contribution to gross domestic product has improved, moving from 6.6% in 2015 to 7.3% in 2017. He says focus is being placed on research and development in order to transform the industry. The Agriculture Minister says the push to grow the sector also involves an aggressive youth in agriculture program, rationalizing idle lands and looking to market within the CARICOM. And ahead in Caribbean Newsline, we get the latest sport. Stay with us.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. Do not store large amounts of perishable food during the hurricane season.
Today on Softball 360, powered by Monster Athletics. What does it take to defend a title? We'll follow the defending champs from Monster Athletics as they work to repeat. When the Stadium Power Tour kicks in, the world's greatest softball home run hitters get it on as they prepare to crown a champion. Hey, are you ready for a great American road trip?
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture, We can't wait to welcome you.
We initially thought it was an accident at the airport in Israel, and we understood that our father had been hurt. The first thing that came to my mind.
West Indies are fighting to extend their lead after Sri Lanka got early wickets to put the home side in a spot of bother just before lunch on the third day of the third test at Kensington Oval. The Windies were left reeling before the break on 41 for 7 in their reply to Sri Lanka's first innings total of 145. They are now 56 for 8. Opening batsman Craig Brathwaite went for 2 and Devon Smith for a duck. Shea Hope lasted 2 balls and he also went for a duck. Earlier, captain Jason Holder was instrumental in picking apart Sri Lanka's batting lineup as he grabbed figures of 4 for 19, leaving the Windies with a lead of 50 runs. Also adding to the visiting side's troubles was fast bowler Shannon Gabriel, who took 3 wickets for 52 runs, while Kimar Roach had figures of 2 for 30. That's Niroshan Dickwell top scored with 42 from 72 deliveries after Sri Lanka resumed from their overnight 99 for 5. Here's a look at Sri Lanka's first innings.
Well, this was the first wicket. In case you missed out on the way the Sri Lankan batsmen were dismissed, this is how Kusal Pereira perished.
Yeah, he left the ball very well until then. And then Roach getting not only his line right, but getting his length right in this over. And it reaped benefits for him, getting rid of Udawati. This was not a shot that Kusal Mendes will want to remember. He's a better player than we're seeing here. It was just ill-timed, misjudged.
Inexplicable, if that's the right word, and this one was a good referral by the Windies. Didn't look out to the naked eye, but they went upstairs. And the Windies should be credited for some good referrals. This one and even Dhananjay De Silva. This was negatived as well. But the Windies are bold enough to go upstairs, and it was confirmed. And I felt that those were 2 really big wickets. Dhananjay De Silva and Anushka Gunatilaka being dismissed in that short span. And this was this morning. Roshan Silva looked solid, looked good. He was looking to leave deliveries, and I thought he was just getting himself in when he played that shot.
Looked to have a rush of blood. And even as well as Niroshan Dickwell had played, we talked about this last night, and where the Windies would ask him to score, ask him to play away from his body, and these are the challenges for these 2 young teams and their batsmen to learn to appreciate conditions, and Lakmal, well, just too good.
Suranga Lakmal just looking to play it away on the onside, and Jason Holder, nice shape, good release, and he was in a good channel. And this was Kasam Rajat, again that late movement, just flipping or hitting the off stump. Could see the shape away and just hitting the middle of the off stump. And what I didn't really understand is this last run out. Lahiru Kumara surely should be able to look after himself. And a great presence of mind by Jason Holder, but I didn't think that run out was necessary. Lahiru Kumara should be able to look after himself, and well, looking to farm the strike. That looked silly in the end. So that's the end of the Sri Lankan innings.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, West Indies, they're now at the crease and they're at 56 for 8. We dip into Kensington Oval for a bit of that game.
Bowled by Rajita and the last man to go, Jason Holder, for 15. Well caught. That slip after bowling of Rajita. Rajita now with 3 wickets for just 7 runs in his 4 overs. 3 also for Lakmal for 24. He's into his 11th over now.
Short leg comes in. And throughout this series, we've seen that bowlers prefer to go around the wicket to left-handers. And it really has troubled not only the tail-enders, even the top-order batsmen, this angle. Oh dear. Long spell.
And as you can see there, West Indies still at 58 for 8. That's taking place now at the Kensington Oval in the third test of the series. And it's a day-night fixture. Well, we're still talking cricket. India's A team crushed West Indies A by 7 wickets in their second match of the Tri-Nation Series in England on Monday. Batting first, the Windies were dismissed for 221 in 49 overs. Devon Thomas top scored with 64, while Chandrapal Himraj chipped in with 45 and Jason Mohammed added 31. Right-arm pacer Deepak Chakar was India A's pick of the bowling with superb figures of 5 for 27. In reply, India got past Windies total comfortably, posting 222 for 3 from 38 overs. Mayank sets up a solid foundation with his brilliant knock of 112, while Shubman Gill remained unbeaten on 58. Medium pacer Dominic Drakes was the pick of the bowlers for the Windies with figures of 2 for 37. Chris Gayle has thrown his support behind West Indies women in their third bid to recapture the T20 World Cup set to be staged in the Caribbean in November, and he believes the excitement of the Caribbean culture will make also the tournament a success. Gayle recently attended the Women's T20 Blaze and said he had been very impressed with the level of skill and talent demonstrated by the players, and he believes the Windies can repeat their success. He said, and I quote, "It is great to be hosting the ICC Women's World T20 in the West Indies. I know it's going to be great in Antigua, St. Lucia and Guyana. This is great news for our girls, and even better to be defending the trophy at home. It was great when we both won men's and women's teams back in India a few years ago. So you know me, I'm backing them to win again." End of quote. West Indies women are defending champions, having won their first global title 2 years ago against Australia. On the same day, the men's team beat England in spectacular fashion to make it a day of double celebration for Caribbean cricket. The tournament, which runs from November 9th to the 24th, will be the first standalone ICC Women's World T20 tournament. All matches will be broadcast to the global audience for the first time, and the decision review system will also be implemented. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
From sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
Violence in schools, media hype or reality? That's the topic for discussion in the next UNICEF-sponsored Activate Talks right here on CaribVision. Activate Talks is a global series by UNICEF designed to spark discussion on issues affecting children and youth. So join us at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, June 27th and find out about violence in schools. Media hype or reality? Again, the major developments of this day. Antigua and Barbuda's embattled former Energy Minister Assad Michael will not be investigated by the Integrity Commission. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Do have yourselves a good night.